All right, guys, so we're going to look at the startup procedure on this mid-efficiency furnace. So we're going to take a look at what's going on here. I have it hooked up to the gas line back here already. I have my power plugged in here, and this is going to facilitate my thermostat. Normally I would have a thermostat on here, but this is going to be just like me closing the connection on it. What we should see is if we look at this furnace, the first thing we need to do is engage our safety devices all the time. And the very first thing I want to do is get my combustion fan here rotating. So we should see this fire up. And after this fires up and my switch here closes and the system's proved for a little while, then we should see action down here to get the igniter going. So we should see the igniter start, and then we'll hear the click from the gas valve, and then we'll see the flame come across. And as long as the flame comes across and hits this flame sensor here, then it will keep firing. And then we will disconnect the thermostat wire and we'll watch it shut off and see what happens. All right, here we go. All right, let's plug this in. We are engaging our thermostat, and right away, this is running. You can hear that? That shows that that's running. It's closed this switch already. This clicked. And after this runs for a certain amount of time, we should see some action happening down inside here. Let me move over a bit more so we can see the igniter itself. So what's happening right now is the circuit board is waiting for a specific time period to go. It's been pre-programmed on the board. Every manufacturer is different. Some of them you can change things. You see that glow in there now? That's the igniter. You can hear the gas valve click, and now we can see the flame all the way across. So this flame sensor now sets the flame and everything is fine. That's my startup procedure. So now, if I come back over here and I unplug my thermostat, immediately we had this shut off. So as soon as my thermostat says don't call for power, it's going to turn that off. My combustion fan is slowing down, so it's not running anymore. And now over here, my blower fan is active, and it will stay active until a certain amount of time has passed. Remember, the point of that is to recycle that air that has been heated out of that chamber to cool off the plenum. So that's my startup and my shutdown procedure for this unit. All right, so we just saw the startup procedure and shutdown procedure of this mid-efficiency furnace. What we're going to do now is we're going to cause it some problems. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to block this flue. So when I block this flue, it's going to prevent this from being able to suck this in. So any blockage here is going to affect my safety switch there. So we're going to see what happens with that, both as it tries to start and also once it has started. So once again, I will plug in my thermostat. We have the combustion fan running. If I hold my hand here, I can feel the airflow coming out. Now, if I cover this, I'm not sure if you can hear that or not. This switch right now, as I change the air pressure on the vent, it's also opening and closing that switch. So I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let the system continue on. I'm going to mention one other thing down here. You can see this little LED light right there. That LED is a status light, and depending on what's happening with the system and depending on the manufacturer, that light's going to change different flashes and different patterns. And that could indicate operation or troubleshooting for us. So if in doubt, pay attention to that little LED. It can tell us a lot. Now we have our igniter going. Gas valve open, and that started. I can put my hand over this now, and you can see, as soon as I put my hand over that, I no longer had good airflow through my flue. So as soon as I did not have good airflow through my flue, it shut down my gas valve immediately. Now, take a look at that little LED. So it's going to flash in pattern. So that had a pattern of 3 and 1. So what that tells me is that the trouble with this is diagnosable by me finding out what that pattern meant. And I guarantee you, because I plugged this up, this switch opened and then it shut down everything else. And that LED was indicating to me what the trouble was and where I need to look to solve the trouble. Okay, so now we just saw what happens if I were to block the flue, and then all of a sudden my pressure switch here opens and it shut off my gas valve. What we're going to do next is we're going to look at this here. This wire goes to my flame-proof sensor. So if I unplug that wire from my flame-proof sensor, there's no way that that can send a signal back to my circuit board to tell me that the flame has actually gone all the way across. So here's what a furnace does when you don't have that flame roll fully across the burners. We'll plug in my thermostat. Still have the same operation where my combustion fan is started up. My switch here is closed. I have airflow through here. Everything so far is fine. My LED down on my circuit board is telling me everything is still fine. We're going to see the ignition sequence start up here where I first get the glow, and then I should hear the click from the gas valve and the flame will start. Pay attention to what happens right after that. All right, so it lit. The computer was looking for a sensor. That sensor said, there is no flame on this side. You better shut it down. But you'll notice the system's not off yet. Wait, and it should try it again. Typically, systems will try 3 times before they give up and give you an error code. So here's time number 2. By the way, that LED is now flashing an error code saying that there's been a problem. If this clears the problem, then that LED flash will go away. So that's number 2, and I still have an error flash. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug this back onto there carefully. So that's back together again. We should have one more attempt, and we'll see what the difference is. Now that flame sensor has a flame on that last burner, and it's allowing the system to continue to operate. So now everything is going as planned. My LED has stopped flashing at me because now the system works. There's no more trouble. The trouble's been cleared, and everything is great. If I pull this out, once again, that's going to open, and again, it shuts off the gas valve and turns off the burner. And this LED is giving me an indication again.